Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about this rather interesting news that we got over the weekend regarding the next Boruto manga chapter that comes out on the 20th, which is we now have a major plot twist coming in the next chapter confirmed, and the foot is staying on the gas of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex because we have confirmation that Jura is pulling up into Konoha, and it's safe to say that this is a pretty major plot twist for the story that we're going to be discussing for a while, depending on how it happens in the upcoming chapter. But Shueisha threw us out a bone to get our mouth watering for the upcoming chapter. Normally when stuff like this breaks, I cover it the same day that it drops, but I was out of town for my sister's birthday this weekend, and it's the first half of the month where we alternate between Naruto and Boruto videos. So one day you get Naruto videos, and then on the next day you get a Boruto video. Since everything from the 16th, when the spoilers usually drop, all the way into the end of the month is super Boruto focused, where just about every video every day is a Boruto video, since most of you guys want content around the Boruto chapter. So in 2024 we split that baby, since there's still a lot of Naruto based lore and videos I want to cover that isn't attached to Boruto, so you guys by default will be seeing this on Tuesday. However, now that we've got the housekeeping out of the way, let's look at the official promo information that Shueisha released for Boruto. In the promotional image for the next issue of V-Jump magazine, we're told a few things. The first and most important update being that Jura is shown on the page saying that he's going to devour Naruto, and the splash text says an unordinary danger stirs in Konoha village. The subtext says that the Shinju pose a threat to Konoha and their target Naruto is sealed in another dimension. But most importantly, we get another teaser text saying that Jura is invading Konoha to eat Naruto. The final splash text regarding Jura says that the goal of the Shinju is to prey on the Otsutsuki clan in order to further their evolution, but Jura heads towards the direction of his established target in pursuit of his instincts. What will be the fate of his target, Naruto? Next, the last thing that we see is that we're told that the May issue of V-Jump is going to be a special issue larger than normal, which will be the upcoming issue that we get. That's likely going to be some kind of video game news, just given that V-Jump magazine is a video game magazine that happens to publish manga like Boruto and Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Quest Dai, and Yu-Gi-Oh! I wouldn't get my hopes up for the next Boruto chapter being longer than normal in terms of 39 to 42 pages that we normally get, but who knows? I'm not personally expecting it, but we have been treated to longer chapters in the past with Boruto, so you never know. There's also quite a bit to unpack here on the Jura splash text and the promotional information. By all accounts, it seems as if we don't have to wait long for Jura to pull up in Konoha, because the guy is going all in towards the village looking for Naruto. Now, this is interesting for a few reasons. The first is that it's an interesting choice to have Konoha once again on the defensive in a situation, because they just literally got invaded by Code and his army of 1,000 claw grimes. The citizens just got evacuated, and now, assuming that there hasn't been some kind of mini time jump where it's been a few weeks, they're gonna have to go for cover yet again, which means somewhere insurance companies inside of Konoha are making a killing for the increase in premium that all these back-to-back attacks on the village are causing. However, jokes aside though, I think Jura coming to Konoha in the next chapter means that we need to have a serious conversation about Kawaki being the one to head out to confront Jura first. He's the one who stands to lose the most if Jura is the one who has pulled up in Konoha first, because the moment he's told by Ada that Jura, the guy looking for Naruto, is now in the village, he's going to want to head him off to avoid the situation that Damon brought up a couple of chapters ago, which is the moment that the Shinju appear in Konoha looking for Naruto, Damon is going to bust out laughing, because it would start the process of Kawaki being exposed. Jura being back in the village puts Kawaki on the defensive to protect his 3-year lie, and it forces him to go straight on the attack to Jura, which brings up another issue. Jura can sense that Naruto is still alive and he wants to consume him. The moment he and Kawaki interact, it's likely that Jura gets a stronger read on Kawaki, and he's going to target Kawaki, which is, if I'm Boruto, I'm gonna be pissed, because there's a pattern developing here in the narrative. In part 1, Boruto was the one who drew the short end of the stick, being chosen by Code to be fed to the Ten Tails because Kawaki needed to be kept alive for Ada. Back when Jigen learned that Boruto had a karma, Boro was going to capture Boruto and Kawaki. Kawaki wasn't going to get fed to the Ten Tails because Ishiki's karma seal had already reached 100% extraction on Jigen's body. So Ishiki wasn't feeding Kawaki to the Ten Tails because he needed a proper vessel to resurrect into. Otherwise, if Kawaki got fed, then he'd be stuck with Jigen's failing body. And he couldn't put karma on Boruto because Boruto already had a karma. That left only Boruto to be fed between him and Kawaki, but at least in that situation with the Ten Tails, it gets a 2-for-1 Otsutsuki special because Jigen would have been fed alongside Boruto so that the body of Kawaki could be used to be resurrected could be used to resurrect Ishiki. When Jigen got killed by Kashi and Koji, it was Ishiki's plan to feed Boruto to the Ten Tails and implant karma onto Kawaki so that Ishiki could be reborn into Kawaki's body. There's a pattern there. People want to feed Boruto to the Ten Tails, but they're not going to do anything to Kawaki. The moment that Jura senses Naruto inside of Kawaki, that makes Kawaki something that Jura can't eat yet until he gets Kawaki to release Naruto, which leaves Boruto available to be devoured. The next thing that's interesting about this whole situation is that it sets Kawaki up to be able to beat the fraud allegations that's been brought against him by the story. So far in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Kawaki is looking about as big of a threat as Code looked when he got his limiters removed. Sure, we know that Code was strong, but the guy didn't live up to the hype and he was a bit of a disappointment. Kawaki had 3 years to train and improve, and so far, based on what we've seen, it's been pretty lackluster. The claw grimes show up and he's been forced to use the Coma Seal and his ninja tech to battle them off, albeit he was fighting one that used the Rinnegan, yet it still gave the impression of being lacking. When he finally confronted Boruto, Boruto treated him like a side piece and said, "I'll talk to you later." When Kawaki was running his mouth to Mitsuki got that off-guard win by knocking him unconscious by poisoning Kawaki when he lowered his guard and wasn't paying attention. He's been purposely torn down, he's been rattled, and it's time to let him out that cage now that he's pissed off, which goes back to Jura invading Konoha based off of this promotional information. We start out Boruto 2 Blue Vortex very Boruto Uzumaki focused, showcasing the extent of Boruto's power and growth and his tribulations through the last 3 years. I think we're about to shift at some point in the future to us seeing some of Kawaki's growth and tribulations as well. It's the only way to start setting up a true payoff for Boruto versus Kawaki's battle that you have in the future. The one thing that you don't want is a feeling of predictability. You already have it to an extent in the sense that Boruto uses a ton of elements that you see in traditional battles shonen manga. For the most part, you expect the main character to triumph, but the ones that stand the test of time show us that for as much as the main character grew, the antagonist that they were chasing had grown or was growing stronger than expected. In some cases, they might have actually won. It's what made Dio a really great foil to Jonathan Joestar in part 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, especially early on, because it gave a sense of, wait, the bad guy's pulling ahead, the bad guy seems unbeatable. Frieza in Dragon Ball, even before he threw a single punch, he was being built up like a monster, and when he did start throwing hands, he made it feel as if each time the good guys were starting to turn a corner, he was snatching the souls of readers left and right. Sasuke in Naruto's manga did the same thing for a time. Just when it seemed like Naruto had passed Sasuke or he was catching back up to him, Sasuke pulled ahead until he got to the final third of the Naruto manga, where it became pretty clear Naruto was head and shoulders above Sasuke in power. Kawaki needed this battle with Jura because as things stand right now, he feels like an afterthought in terms of being a threat, which is something you can't have. You want your readers who have gotten accustomed to Boruto's strength level to eventually look at Kawaki and see the skills that he's acquired and see the fight be so well done that it leaves them saying, okay, now this might be someone who is strong enough to make Boruto use karma to have to take him down. Kawaki right now isn't being treated like a microwavable dinner. He's being treated like a slow roasted filet mignon that has had time for the juices to soak and the seasoning to get deep into the meat. This ain't one of those microwavable dinners you stick in the microwave and the meat's so tough that you might as well be eating shoe leather. That battle with Jura or any of the other Shinju that forces Kawaki to show off that power is gonna hit like crack when it finally happens. And since we've already seen Boruto fight against some of the Shinju briefly, albeit he had the element of surprise working against him, this gives you a chance to measure Boruto and Kawaki somewhat directly against each other. You guys know my stance on this. Ultimately, I am not a fan of Jura and the other Shinju pulling up into Konoha that quickly, but if it happens, I'm not going to be upset because I'll give the story a chance to cook the narrative and judge based off of the merits of the payoff once the invasion is done, and see if Jura is coming back to Konoha to set things in motion, similar to how Pain's invasion led to Danzo being named Hokage, and We saw at the 5 Kage summit that Danzo was one of the people saying, yo, you know what? I got no problem if you kill Sasuke. I'll kill him myself. While I might not be hyped about this, the fact remains that I know a lot more of you guys are excited about this. And I know that the editorial staff at V-Jump magazine sees this much as well, hence why we have Jura being more prominent in the promotional page than Boruto is. But in the meantime, click here to watch this Naruto Uzumaki video essay you see on the screen.